one of my favorite people. He hails from Long Island, New York, Huntington, trained at Gleason's Gym in Brooklyn. As an amateur, he was a two-time New York Golden Gloves champion, professional record of 28-3 with 24 knockouts, one of the best left hooks of all time, one of the heaviest hitters in the heavyweight division, challenged for the heavyweight championship of the world 2 times. Ladies and gentlemen, Gerry Cooney.
Hey, Joe. Thank you, Joe. Listen, by the way, I trained at Gleason's Gym, but at that time, it was on 30th Street and 8th Avenue in Manhattan, no Brooklyn at that time.
Oh,
I went to
no
Brooklyn years
Brooklyn at
later.
that time.
We had a great gym.
Okay.
We had Roberto Duran, home. Everybody came through that place. So it was a great time. Great gym.
Yeah, okay. Gleason's Gym in Manhattan, yes. Okay, so first of all, you're half Canadian. We want to just touch on that once again because
That's
I know
right.
your
That's right.
your grandparents
Newfoundland.
were from Newfoundland. Tell us
No, my
about
father.
the
My father was
your
from
dad's side of
Newfoundland.
the family, right? Yeah.
Yeah, my dad was from Newfoundland, St. John's, and he left when he was like 17 and became a merchant marine. But I've always been trying to get up there. I mean, I get to Canada a lot. I love Canada, the Canadian people. I love Canada, and I've had a big plan set up to go up to St. John's, and I had to cancel because I had a previous engagement. So sometime soon I'm going to get there.
Well, next time you're in Toronto, look us up because we got dinner and a few other things we're going to take care of,
Nice.
and we're going to have some fun. And we're looking forward to your visit. Maybe when I get to New York in the next little while, who knows? Things are going to open up, hopefully. One thing that's opening up is the sport of boxing, and we got a big fight to talk about. It's the big showdown: Terence Bud Crawford versus Shawn Showtime Porter for the WBO welterweight title at Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas. Saturday night, Terence Bud Crawford, the WBO welterweight champion, 37-0, 28 knockouts, 34 years old, 5'8". But check out this reach for a 5'8", 74 inches. That's long. He turned pro in 2008, hails from Omaha, Nebraska, a southpaw who can switch it up. And he will be facing, like a lot of guys won't get in the ring with our friend Mr. Crawford, but
Showtime.
here's one that
Showtime.
will. Shawn Showtime Porter. 31-3-1 with 17 knockouts, 35 years old. He's 5'7", but check out his reach, only an inch shorter. His reach is only 59 and a half, or 69 and a half. Hails from Akron, Ohio. Good things happen in Akron, Ohio, as we know. He started as a super middleweight, moved down, former WBO, WBA, IBF champion. His last fight was a unanimous decision over Sebastian Formella 15 months ago. Crawford's last fight was against Kell Brook about a year ago. So, Gerry, let's break this down. First of all, Errol Spence is waiting in the wings, hopefully at some point for one of these guys. We have one guy who has fought Errol Spence before. That's Shawn Porter. How do these two measure up in your opinion? Porter and Crawford.
Well, Crawford and Porter, I think it's a great fight. Obviously, Crawford has a lot of championships under his belt. He won all the divisions at 140, moved up. The thing that I see with him, he throws very long punches. And the guys that really have good amateur careers, you got to throw 6, 8, 10-inch punches, nice and short inside. And sometimes if he catches Showtime Shawn Porter, he could, take him out of there with that power. But if Shawn Porter does what he's got to do to get inside, and there you go, there goes Porter going down there from a left hook from a relatively not a great puncher, Adrian Verona, but sometimes you just get caught like that. But he fought back, he won that fight, and he's a beast of endurance. He doesn't get tired. He stays on your chest the whole time. He may come out and try and box against Terence Crawford, but I think what's going to happen is he's going to have to get inside and to rough Crawford up with body shots and body shots and body shots, and if he's got a chance, and hopefully he doesn't get caught with that punch coming in. If he gets caught with one of Crawford's punches, Crawford's a very good finisher, and that's what makes it a great, interesting fight. That these are two top guys who've never fought before. You talked about Errol Spence is trying to get in there with Terence Crawford,
Crawford.
but
Right.
the money's a problem. Everybody wants all the money. So we're going to have to see what goes on. It's going to be interesting to see how it works out. And but I'm excited. I'll be sitting in the front row watching from my home.
Right. Yeah. So now that's the thing about when I look at this. When you think of how much reach that Porter's given up, 4.5 inches. He's got to get on top of him. He can't stay outside. And as you mentioned before, Crawford's got the power. He's got those long punches. If Porter gets on the end of that power, he's probably not going to stand a chance. One thing I like about they both guys will come to fight. Both guys will fight anybody. Nobody's ever ducked anybody. If you look at some of the guys they fought, like some of Crawford's wins, Yorkis Gamboa, Amir Khan, Brook, he knocked out Brook, Jose Benavidez, Julius Ndongo to unify the super lightweight titles. Felix Diaz, John Molina, Yurkis Gamboa, Victor Pistol. A lot of these guys went into this fight with Crawford undefeated, and obviously they weren't. Crawford finished these guys off. What are your thoughts about him being the finisher that he is? Will he get this done?
Well, listen, here's the story with him. He was a 140 pounder, 135 pounder, moved up. Showtime Shawn Porter was a 168-pound fighter. So he obviously
Right.
is the bigger, stronger guy. And the thing is, yes, if Crawford catches Porter from the outside, he can hurt him. But Showtime Shawn Porter has the will to get inside, to make that move, and just keep his defense up, and he can get and make it a rough Crawford up. Crawford's never really been roughed up before. This guy can do it for him, and you can see him here. He's boxing. He's not a bad boxer too, but I think that he can't box against Terence Crawford for too long because Crawford's a good boxer. He's got great movement, and well, what a great fight this was. Ugas and Shawn Porter. But listen, it's a great, spectacular fight. It's a fight. It could be fight of the year if these guys can keep their plan. You train in that gym and you got a couple of plans to go by, and you're going to make adjustments, and you got to get. Porter's got to get inside and keep himself inside, and don't give Crawford the distance to stick that jab all night long and land that straight right hand. And he's also a great left hooker. So listen, both these guys are very dangerous, Joe.
Well, yeah, and Porter is busy. I mean, the guy is nonstop action, and he did beat Ugas, who beat Pacquiao. So I mean, that's a pretty impressive win over that. Because he lost a split decision to Errol Spence, and it was a controversial split decision. Beat Danny Garcia. Of course, Verona, we talked about that. Paulie Malignaggi, he's beaten Andre Berto, Leo Diaz. He'll fight the best. He's not afraid to fight the best. He comes to fight. And that's when you talked about it being potentially a classic fight, I 100% agree with you because you got two guys who are going to bring it, two guys who are going to get it, give it everything they got, and two guys who are fearless. They'll fight anybody.
Joe, this division, the welterweight division, is so stacked with talent. There's great fights for years to come, and the younger kids are coming up. You got Victor Ortiz coming up, sensational fight. You got a lot of great guys. So listen, it's going to be a fun night. Who gets caught first? You know what I mean? That's the deal.
Right.
If Crawford catches Shawn Porter, it could be trouble for him. And I can see him catching Porter on the way in. He's a very good boxer. He's very fast. So, you just got to create the opening. If you can, he'll get a win. But, don't, knock down Shawn Porter. He is there to fight 12 hard rounds. We've seen him with the best, with Errol Spence and so many other guys. He is there at the end of the bell. So this just makes it so great. And this way, it's going to get a lot of views. I think a lot of people are going to come and see this welterweight championship fight. It's a great one.
It is going to get a lot of views, no doubt about that. It's got a lot of people pumped up. I want to talk about that undefeated factor and the confidence factor. Bring back to your career when you were undefeated, when you took that I think it was 21-0 record, 2-2-0 record into the ring against Ken Norton, and what the confidence level is like for an undefeated fighter. Bring us back to that time and where you were at and how what was that like? What was that like for your confidence? Did it make a difference for you?
Joe, looking back, The Norton fight was that was Mandingo. You know, he was in great shape.
Yeah.
He had lost the title a couple of years before to Holmes, and I could have beat anybody in the world that night. That's how good I felt. I was just fit to be tied, and I was not going to be denied. That being said, I figured I'm in for a tough fight. I'm going to go 10 rounds, but I caught him with a right hand to the body and buckled him a little bit. And I figured, let me take a little shot here. So, you know, you don't want to punch yourself out, but I got him in the ropes. I caught up with his bobbing and weaving. Yes, he watched this, and I catch him with a solid shot, and he goes limp right here, limp right there. He's limp. He's out.
Right.
Referee can't
Yeah.
see. He's stuck on the rope. But you know, but the real fight in my career that I was the best for me was losing to Larry Holmes. I lost in the 13th round. I got stopped. But what I learned that night from fighting such a great champion, had we fought a rematch, and I don't know why we didn't, because in today's day we would have a trilogy easy. I learned so much about boxing and about myself in that loss. So it's not that big deal to get a loss. You know, you have to have the will. If you have the will to fight, it makes you better. You know, that's the story. So yeah, Crawford
Right.
is undefeated. He's a tough guy. He's a very tough guy. He's a real throwback from the old days of the old fighters back in the old days. I think of, you know, Cohen Basilio, those kind of guys. He's relentless,
LaMotta.
but
Yeah. Yeah.
he's never really been tested yet. And he's going to get tested with Shawn Porter because Shawn Porter's putting the pressure on him. He's got to get inside and rough up Crawford. I think he can do it. And but like I said, you know, we have to wait till the final bell.
Right. It is a tough fight to call. Okay, so you got Crawford with the edge and power. He's I also think but what I've seen, he's a superior boxer. He seems to be a superior boxer. Uh, Porter can be hit. You know, he has been hit before. So having said that, I think this fight goes. I think this fight has some legs. I think it's going to last a while, but I kind of see Crawford pulling this out either by a decision or perhaps a late round knockout. What do you see?
Well, if you think about it, Errol Spence and Showtime Shawnee Porter, it was a close fight right down to the end when Porter got dropped in the second to last round, or the last round, something like that. So he's a tough kid. He's very tough. He's got a great father in his corner. He's determined. He works out. He's in great shape. He doesn't mess around. So, you know, for some reason, I feel like he's going to get caught with a shot early on and get stunned a little bit. But I think he's going to get into his mode. He's going to find his way in, and he's going to keep his hands up and get inside to that body. If he does, it could be a game changer. So I'm still picking it as a pick'em fight. And but I do feel somewhere down the road that Crawford will catch him with something. But I'm a very big Showtime Shawn Porter fan, so I'm rooting for him big time.
Well, let's see what happens, and I either way you can't go wrong. It's going to be a hell of a fight. So anyway, I want to
Yes.
give you some props here, Gerry. If you're following, you want to follow Gerry, you can catch him on Instagram at Gerry Cooney, at Gerry A Cooney on Instagram, Twitter Gerry Cooney, Facebook Gerry Cooney. On Sirius XM, it's Gerry's weekly show at the fights. That's at noon Eastern on Mondays and Fridays on channel 156 Sirius XM. Don't miss it. Got to see it. Gerry, thanks for being on the show, and looking forward to catching up with you again soon.
Hey, Joe, it's great to always be with you. Listen, I was listening to you that last interview. What a great job. You know, you're a bad man, bro. I love it. Thank you so much. Enjoy the fights, folks, and we'll look forward
Thank
to
you,
seeing you
Gerry.
again soon.
All right, we'll have lots to talk about next time. Thanks, buddy.
See you, bud.